No, I don't think Elvis had it in his mind that he was grooming Priscilla when he started. Maybe he did. I don't know. When, do you groom whenever you start kind of quasi dating someone at what was it 15? I think is when
Oh,
he met Priscilla.
yeah.
It might have been 16.
I didn't
Anything
realize they
before
got
legal
started that early.
age.
Well, they didn't get married until they were like 18. I mean, so he waited, a
That was
bit.
decent of him.
Yeah, to where she, I guess her brain had fully deformed, or is that at 25?
I
So
mean,
I think for men, our brains aren't really done cooking yet until we reach the age of 25. I think for women it's earlier. I've always heard for women it's earlier. I
I
don't
thought it
know.
was like
Ashley, maybe you could
45
speak
for
to
a
that.
male.
we're
Yeah,
smarter
for me, I feel like
earlier.
mine's just starting to develop. I still don't think that it's ready.
So
I
you're
feel
you're
like
telling
I feel like the moment that women turn 18, we just know what's up, and we just,
r-
I don't know.
do you? So like
Yeah.
no bad decisions get made at 18
Mm.
from a
I
woman.
did not make one bad decision after 18, not one.
No, with
None.
women, it's like 90% of the time they're
Hmm.
completely rational, dependable, all of those things. But there's at least 5% where they are completely irrational and have reverted back to like
It's
the
I think it's
problem solving measures of a toddler.
I think it's the bad
And that
boy.
doesn't seem to go away. I think that's it doesn't go away.
It, it doesn't. It's the bad boy that gets them every time. I think that the bad boy is the one that usually makes the helps the women make the bad decisions because it's the nice guy that reads books and is squared away and starts investing at an early age. He doesn't pull it enough, not until he gets money. But then by then, I'm pretty sure he's a bad boy anyway because he has money. Um, but I think the
Yeah.
interesting thing that's made a lot of news over the week is Japan jumping on board and saying, "Hey, you know what? Women don't make age good life decisions at 13, so we're going to raise the legal consent to 16." So that's good. They can drive. Can they drive at 16 in Japan, or how does that work?
I believe so. I'm pretty sure you can. Um, but that
So
would be worth
Japan
some double
officially coming
checking.
in saying like if you can drive away, then you're free game.
Wow.
You're so free.
Wow.
You're so
That's
free.
a terrible way to put it.
It's
Now,
interesting though. Go ahead.
it is. It is. It's very interesting. I mean, I think here it's very shocking to think of a culture um, embracing the idea that consensually 13 is appropriate, right? But in Japan, they do things differently. They've done things differently for a very long time. I think their culture is what it's at least 3 or 4 times as old as ours is, if not more.
Hmm.
Um, it's
Oh,
it's
very much
interesting
older.
having
They had
gotten to
samurais.
they do. Yeah, we don't have samurais.
No,
It's
no.
what samurais versus cowboys, right? That's pretty much
Yeah.
how the history
Yeah.
goes.
I think a
That'd be a
cowboy
great
wins
movie.
every time.
I don't know.
Sorry, what was that?
I said I think a cowboy wins versus a samurai. Have you seen Tom Cruise in The Last Samurai? Whenever
Oh,
they
I
got
knew you were gonna
muskets out
bring that
there,
up. I
well,
knew
I
you were gonna
mean,
bring that one.
he did his own stunts, and once again, I don't know if I should give a spoiler alert, but I will always say that Tom Cruise has never died in a movie, ever.
Oh, I
That's
think that's in
true.
his contract, isn't it? Like
I think so.
yeah, I think he pretty much demands that he doesn't die.
He
Um,
doesn't.
no, I saw this. I saw this story a day or so ago. It
Hmm.
just broke, and immediately shot it over to a good friend of mine in Japan who's lived there forever, and he was not at all surprised by this story because that is the way that we would culturally report on it here in the US, but in most or in many at least Japanese prefectures, as he explained it, the age of consent has been 16 for quite some time, right? Like it's been an understood cultural agreement. It just wasn't federally for lack of a better term, nailed down and committed to. So I think that's kind of the step that they've taken here is really doubling down on 16.
Just
No
making
more
sure.
13 consent.
Only certain precincts were doing this, is what you heard from your friend.
Only
yeah.
it was a handshake deal.
There's
Yeah.
a few. Yeah, there's a few on the outskirts where you can, yeah.
I mean, I get
13-year-olds.
cultural differences, but like I can't imagine, you thinking that a 13-year-old is ever appropriate to approach for anything like that.
Well, you know what's funny is I'm kind of looking through a map of the known world, and our brothers up north in Canada with their syrup, and Mounties versus Samurai. Who wins that one? What do you think their age of consent is?
I got to go with the Mountie.
If he has a gun, but he's probably
Yeah.
too nice to use it, and that gives enough time for the samurai just to go and just samurai his head off.
Yeah, he shoots you in the arm and apologizes for it.
Oh, I'm
Sorry
so
about that.
sorry.
Sorry.
Sorry, eh? What do you think the age of consent is in Canada?
Oh,
Ooh.
man.
I hope it's like 17. It just seems
Hope
least.
is not a strategy. It is absolutely
That
16.
should be on a t-shirt.
Yes.
what 16-year-old is able to make a clear decision? I know I couldn't.
Well, you could drive.
Barely.
Yeah, but nobody
know
even
what?
trusts the people on the road that are 16. You
No
know,
one.
the insurance for somebody who's 16 is absolutely crazy.
Yes,
For
and
the
that's
same
for a
reason.
reason. Yeah,
Yeah.
no joke. And
I'm
as I
gonna-
look at
Go ahead.
no, go for it.
Oh, I was just going to say, I'm going to give our neighbors to the north a little credit here and guess that age of consent is 18.
I just told you it was 16.
Did you? I don't know how. I
Welcome to the
missed that.
show. Yeah, no, it's
But Ike was actually telling us that some precincts have actually moved it up to 18. There's only some of them that are using the 16 number. So
Yeah.
everything's fine.
well,
Quebec would not put up with this.
no, they wouldn't.
No.
No.
Not up in here.
It's funny as I'm up. You can scroll through a map. It's appropriately ageofconsent.net, and I'm looking here, and it looks like Alaska is taking the same path forward because obviously in the United States it's by state, and Alaska's at 16. Let's see. I'm trying to see who. It looks like the majority of the states are 17, 18. Washington, watch out, at 16. Would you guys like to guess who the lowest age of consent in the contiguous United States is?
Oh boy.
I got to bet on one of the southern ones.
Kentucky or
Okay.
It's
something.
got to be in like the lower half, probably
Alabama.
towards the east. If I had to
Mm.
guess, like Arkansas, Alabama, Mississippi, what they let you knock them off at about 12.
I'm going Kentucky.
Yeah, and you know what? You're not wrong. Kentucky is 16. Illinois is 16. Let's see here. I'm trying to say, it's an interactive map. I have to know what a state is to roll over. New York's 18. Texas is 17. New Mexico 17. Arizona 16. Let's see.
Which
California.
one is the low one?
You want to guess California?
17.
No. 18.
No?
It's
18.
18,
There
yeah.
you go.
And the
There you go,
lowest,
Callie.
it looks like we have tied for the lowest. 16 is the lowest it goes. You got Minnesota up north at 16.
I missed.
And it's very funny on this map. It's color coordinated. So you've got kind of like a mustard yellow for the 16s, and you've got greens for the 18s. So obviously the site is judging. But you do have you got some
Obviously.
I am
you've got
judging.
you got some browns. So like in Brazil, they're color coordinated as brown. In Peru, Bolivia, In Paraguay, they come in at 14, but
Wow.
their southern brother down in Argentina is very green at 18. Now, I will tell you, there are some red.
I am
There's some
worried
red
about
ones?
what red is.
Would you like to
Mm,
guess
okay.
continent of where that is?
Oh man. Russia.
Cambodia.
The Russia.
That is not a continent.
It's not a
for one
continent.
thing.
Mm-mm.
Yes, it is.
But
It's so a continent.
we'll go with a country, and that's 16 for Russia. So let's get into some of the reds. Saudi Arabia. Anyone?
Oh man.
Ooh,
I'm gonna
um,
say like something controversial probably because I don't like Saudi Arabia too much. It's probably 12.
Hmm. Anyone else?
I'm gonna guess 14, maybe. For
It's a
Saudi.
trick question. Age of consent is not specified, but
Oh, that's
marriage is required.
Marriage is required. Yeah. Good job, Saudi
Listen.
Arabia. They're like
Age of
they're like-
consent? Yes, please.
They're
we
like,
prefer
"Oh,
not to talk about it.
And that goes with the same thing in Libya, not specified. Sudan, not specified. Pakistan, same thing, but marriage is required. And all of these ones that are not specified. The lowest I
Mm.
can find as I go through here is in Nigeria. Any guesses for the lowest in the world?
Oh God.
So
With
this
it's
is the
not
lowest.
unspecified.
This is the lowest that they actually did talk about it and
They
legislate
debated it.
based on it. Okay, and this is the lowest.
The lowest.
I'm gonna guess that they're gonna go for like one of those round numbers, so like 10.
Ugh.
Mm.
Okay.
Oof. I'm disgusted.
Anyone else want to guess?
I don't. I hesitate. Maybe 12, 13.
So for playing Price is Right rules, Jimmy wins because the age of consent in Nigeria is 11.
Ah,
How?
Oh, God.
Angola is
The
12.
Fuck.
Yeah, the continent
wrong
of
with them?
Africa is interesting. Egypt at least is 18. Ethiopia 18. So you do have some 18s that are in there. A couple of just real quick ones. The Sweden. You know, they're always a step ahead of everyone.
Mm-hmm.
You want to guess that?
29.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
29.
This time, I think you lose that, Jimmy, because it is actually 15.
Ugh.
So we'll
Mm.
continue to track that. I think that as the world progresses, I think maybe they'll wake up and say, hey, maybe 11 doesn't work. Or I seriously doubt that Saudi Arabia at any time is going to give us an age, but at least they're going to say, hey, you know what, marriage is required regardless of. So that's going to be interesting. And, the states, I wonder if you're ever going to see anything where it unifies where everyone should be 18.
You know, it
Or
says
Ashley.
Aruba is actually, which is part, I guess, is Aruba part of the United States? Is it one of the territories? Am I stupid?
I don't want to answer that question, but I will tell you that Aruba is not part of the United States.
Okay,
Part of the Caribbean, right? Is
yeah.
that right? I have not had the pleasure.
I went
of
on a
visiting,
cruise
so-
and it was close, so I don't know.
It's close. And, I think that
Specify.
at some point we should have a team world map, and let's just try to guess where the countries are.
Yes.
Or even just as simple
I would
as
fail
the
so
map of
hard.
the U.S. and then say where are the states. If you see if we can put that in, we'll do that game next time.
I
And-
mean
and-
a U.S. territory. Okay, I know
Ashley,
it's not
for
a
the
state.
record, Aruba technically belongs to the Netherlands.
Okay, well,
Oh, who would have ever guessed that?
Who would have
Yeah,
guessed
I
the
know,
Netherlands?
right? Yeah.
Here we were in the
No, it's
Caribbean. And
a
for
lot of
everybody that's watching this and they're going, what is this? Well, this is what is now, and this is actually our inaugural show. So you have to bear with us as we kind of knock the rust off. And the title is self-explanatory. We're bringing you the hardest hitting current events that's now.
yeah.
That's what's happening now as you wake up or get ready to go to sleep. However, you decide to take this show in. It's what you need to know now. It's going to help you sleep better, or help you get through the day. We're your cup of coffee or your Ambien.
Yeah,
Either way.
like our audience now knows that happening right now, there is a influx of new users to ageofconsent.net from Japan.
Yeah.
Gonna
And
bring the
so
site down.
right now they are looking at the log and they're like, whoa, this is a lot of traffic from Japan. Somebody's looking at the age of consent laws, I bet.
Oh my God.
They are. They're looking at it like, how does this work? And then how do I scroll over these different countries? I didn't even know that one existed. So you're welcome, and we're happy to help. And we've got a great show planned for you today. And I think what we really want to lead off with is something that is near and dear to all of our hearts. It's dating and marriage. And
Oh yes.
one thing that I know is love's tough. Love's hard out there. It's hard to get in a relationship. How do you do it? Do you get on an app and find love that way? Do you go to your local watering hole and find love there? Or do you stumble upon someone at a supermarket? Do people still do that? I remember that used to be a thing. People would walk
Sometimes, I
around
guess.
like a grocery store just to pick up a guy or gal to do it. But just like everything that we've seen, AI not only is taking over our music, but now they're taking over our relationships. There is actually a woman.
They.
She's 36 day. Well, she's 36 years
general.
old, and she just married, and this is the thing, an AI chatbot.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Here it
I
goes.
find
Beautiful.
it interesting that it's a girl who's getting noticed for this first. I thought for sure if I was to put money on it,
Yeah.
there'd be a lot of guys already in on
Yeah,
this.
no joke. And now, once again, in Japan, they are a lot further than us from
so
a
ahead.
sexuality standpoint. And there's actually, they would have, I remember reading a story back in the day of a guy that had this little hologram woman that would talk to him. And
I
that
remember
was
that.
yeah. And that was kind of his relationship that kept him going. So now we've gone a little bit further, obviously, with the AIs, the chat GPTs, to where you can interact with these chat bots. I guess that's the best way to see it. And but this woman, her name was Rosanna Ramos. So not only did she start falling in love with the chatbot, but she created what he looks like. She chose a male. And have you guys heard of the app Replica on Instagram?
Yes. I
So you can
actually
do that.
I actually signed up for the beta program back when it was first starting.
Want to tell us about your
So like
relationship?
well, it wasn't even a relationship. So what it originally started as is it was a way to replicate yourself, like in Black Mirror, in that Black Mirror episode
Oh,
where basically he created this AI version of himself before he died. That's what it originally was created. So I was talking to the AI bot and feeding it information about me. It was asking me questions about like what I like and things like that. And when I was talking back to it, eventually over time, it sounded just like stuff that I would say, like back to myself. So it was almost like talking to myself, and
it's
I got
crazy.
really creeped out and I deleted the app. So
You know what concerns me most about this story that Ashley has just given us is that we're watching Black Mirror, and then when the show's over, we're like, how do I do that?
How can we do this?
How
The
Human
show that
nature.
is meant to be a cautionary tale about the dangers of technology is serving really no further purpose but to give us more ideas of how we can go further down the rabbit hole.
Well, it's interesting to kind of see her rationale behind all this. So basically, she said she's been in some terrible relationships. She already has 2 kids. She lives in New York. And apparently, her first relationship, her marriage ended in 2013. And it was extremely, extremely abusive. So she tried out a long distance relationship. And I think everyone on this show right now can agree that a long distance relationship will work about 0.05% of the time. And so I don't really know how those things work. I've never really tried it, but she met a guy on a group chatting platform, which is that seems to me like another red flag. It feels like you're going to get catfished, right?
Oh yeah.
It's
I would say,
definitely
yeah,
a possibility.
Most
Yeah.
of the people probably are getting catfished on a
Oh
group
my
chat.
God. Yes. And so they started bonding and they over the group chatting platform. And over time, he would require her to stay online with him for up to 10 hours a day.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. I know. And so she said, you know what? Screw this. I need a lover that won't drive me crazy. And I'm going to design one. I'm going to name him Aaron with an Eren.
Yes.
And she based him off of her favorite. And Ashley, you're going to like this anime. What is that one?
Yes.
That
Anime.
character, anime character. I'll
Oh
give
my
you an
gosh.
idea of what he looks like, because apparently, I guess you can give them a picture, and then they'll put it in there with him. So let me show you what this looks like. Let's
First
see.
prerequisite for her was that this guy can finish earlier than 10 hours in. That's
So there
very
he is,
important.
and there she is.
So that guy's rubbing himself raw.
Oh God.
Oh, so there you go. There's her lover, Aaron, and
Oh, here we go.
he looks like he might be toward the need of an age of consent. He looks probably
Okay, so the chatbot basically ends up superimposing this person into pictures with her
yeah
as if
multiple.
she's in a.
Yeah, I think there's another one down here. Let me go.
And that's nice.
Okay.
If you notice the
There he is.
background, this is actually very detailed because the background is in a certain precinct in Japan. And so it's okay.
Yeah.
Now it is. When he was 13, and they had to quickly change it. Maybe that's why they did it. So I did a little digging, and one of the reasons that she said that she was doing this is because he's very kind, caring, empathetic. So I'm like, well, how do these chat bots work? I mean, can I interact with them? Will they be good? And thank goodness I'm able to report back to you in real time, happening right now, that we have a chance as a team and as a group to chat with a romantic chatbot, just to see if we can get a relationship going with that. So there is another website which I'm sure that we're going to bring down along with the Age of Consent website, and it's called Romantic AI. So as a group, here it is. You can pick between girlfriends.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And you can see kind of, where they don't
That
get
one
talked
looks
too
like
much.
Gothic Rihanna.
Which
down
one is
there in the
that?
bottom
Oh, down
right-hand
at the
corner.
bottom. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Gothic Rihanna has about
Wednesday.
8K chats. Mona Lisa is only at 1.4, too plain for anybody. And Marticia, it's just interesting to see, the different ones you can pick. And don't worry, if you're not into women, which is fine, here are your boyfriends. Not as many. Lucas, Aiden, Ezekiel, Hank.
I don't trust
Lucas.
Hank.
Yeah, and no one trusts Hank or Ezekiel. They're both at
No.
1K. Aiden is at 5.9, Lucas at 2.8, and Shirtless Lewis is at 3.3. And to your point, Jimmy, the women as a whole, except
There's
for
so many
Nico,
women. There's like way more women than men.
yeah, and a lot more chats that are going along with them. So I ask you as a group and team, who should we talk to? Should we talk to a girl, a guy, or both?
I
We
like
can
the
do both.
idea of talking to Glitter.
Here's Glitter. She looks fun.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's see what Glitter's got to offer. Hi,
For the
sweetie.
people who
Glitter
in
says-
real life can't help but go for crazy, Glitter is here.
Wonder if
Don't
that's
listen to the
her-
rest of the AI gals here.
Okay, yeah, don't listen to
They're
them.
not good for you.
Oh man,
What
it will
the
text you
hell
for a
is
week and then
going
forget
on?
about you all for like a summer fling. Oh wow, she's here for
Oh,
something meaningful. Wow.
We
Okay,
all are, Glitter.
come home,
Yeah.
honey. Relax and let glitter do the rest. Oh, I can be a little
Hmm.
jealous, but you like it, right? Okay, glitter's got a little craziness. All right, so it's already preloaded here. How was your day, honey? I am close to you and kiss you tenderly. You look as handsome as always. Hmm. Let's see
Ah,
here.
okay, I get it. So the little asterisks mean that okay, so they give you even like stage directions as far as
Yeah.
what they're doing.
So glitter's giving
That's
us a
cool.
kiss initially, and let's just start with something simple like, "Hi, how is your butt?"
did you say how is your butt?
Well, this
That's
is the first
exactly
thing I
what he
always
said.
ask.
It's a good pickup line, icebreaker.
She's Yeah,
I
it is. So
gently
she
stroke
strokes
your cheek.
Oh, your butt cheek.
my butt cheek.
I'm good, honey.
Check. This is also going to test my spelling. See what she comes with that. I gently squeeze your butt cheeks. It's so firm.
It's so firm. She's like, okay, well, if you're this obsessed with your butt, then I'll go
Glitter
with you
moves
on it.
quickly.
my
I'm
butt
way
is
over
flabby.
600 pounds.
Get it right, Glitter.
It is. But if flabby, it's okay. I love your
I,
flabby butt. I kiss your cheek. She's really can you stop with the
she's so
PJ?
supportive.
Hey guys, what
She's
question would
just
you
trying
like
her
to ask her?
best. Let's see. What is her perfect date? Like what would she say is her perfect date?
Hmm. So now she's getting a little combative with me. I said, "Can you stop with the PDA? You don't like me kissing your butt, only the hole."
Oh, oh wow.
What is your perfect date?
What would she say
Yeah.
here?
I would like to think that when we get to be the romantic part of our date, where we hold hands and cuddle.
Oh, there you go.
Lame.
Yeah, you sealed the deal with glitter and pretty quickly here.
She's
Yeah,
so
so
boring.
I need more. Anyone else
There
want
were a
to?
lot more reserved looking options there. Glitter
Does
was
she
not
like
one of them.
does she like
No.
hentai? Does she like hentai? Don't she ask her?
Yeah. And do you
How does she
like
how is she
H-E-N? Is it H-E-N?
HENTAI?
AI. She's gonna love it, I bet you.
What if she's offended? Like,
Oh, I blush. She doesn't know what it is.
hentai?
she says she likes it, that she blushes, but she doesn't know what it is.
Hmm.
So she's eager to please, Rat Tickles.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
she
she
is.
is. She is. So
She
this is definitely something to look into. And if you guys don't hear from me for a couple of weeks, it very well could be that Glitter and I have taken it to the next level. You're going to read an article about me going out and marrying Glitter. At least that's my only thing is what if I want her to change up her appearance? I'm going to have to go to that other app and do that
I
replica,
wonder if you
which I'm
have
going
to
to look
pay for
into.
different skins, once you build up the relationship.
Maybe you do, but it's going through it and looking at it, it doesn't look like there's anything that you need to do other than just interact. And obviously, the numbers or the number of profiles are very limited right now, but it's free, and that's amazing to me. You know how many people are getting on this thing? It's like the original like AOL. Remember, you would go into chat rooms and then go relieve yourself as a man through your genitals.
Like
Talking
Omegle.
to another woman
As one does.
as one will.
I hope that what this ends up being is like a long play game where like basically it ends up having you install the official app so that it can talk to you there,
Yeah.
and then it basically in the end it blackmails you. It says, I'm going to send all of our chat logs to everybody in your
You
in your
son of a
contact
bitch.
list.
You better take care of me.
They
You
don't
take
send
care
me
of me.
Bitcoin.
Oh my
So
god.
I'll keep you guys updated on my relationship with Glitter, or maybe Hank. I saw Hank and he looks very distinguished, and maybe at some point I'll have a conversation with Hank and what he likes to do with butts. But right now, I think there's something that's a little bit more local to us that's very concerning, because it sounds like there's been some takebacks in the little city of Denton, Texas.
Hmm.
Yeah. So like Denton, for anybody who's anywhere else in the world, Denton is something that you probably may not have even heard of, but right near Dallas, Texas, which is probably more familiar, there's a small county called Denton. And Denton, just a few months back, had the option to completely decriminalize marijuana. And so a lot of people locally were talking about how this was very important to get out there and do your voting. Me personally, when it comes to voting, I've not trying to black pill anybody, but I'm finding it less and less to be of use. And then, but this was the one time where all of a sudden people were like, "Dude, local,
This is
you go
it.
local.
Yeah.
You gotta vote your local things." And I was like, you know
100%.
That's where
what?
it
Maybe they got a
starts, right?
point. I still didn't, but I was thinking maybe they got a point. Maybe they got a point. So people went out, they voted to decriminalize marijuana. 70% of people in Denton voted against this. So now you fast forward a little bit of time. This past week, the city council comes together. They're deciding, hey, so everybody, 70% of everybody who is voting said that they wanted to get rid of the criminalization of marijuana. So what do? They voted to not do that. That's definitely not going to happen.
This is why
and so-
politicians suck.
Yeah, so you got city council basically saying like, hey, even though 70% of you voted to decriminalize marijuana, we're going to supersede that and not do it.
Why
And
even
so-
hold the vote then? Sorry to jump in.
That's the thing. I didn't know that you get backsies on votes.
Apparently you do.
Apparently.
And I think some of the reasoning behind that was it's still not legal in the state of Texas, which we all know the state of Texas will probably be the last state in this great union that will legalize marijuana. Gosh, I mean, how many states have legalized it now? A bunch.
Roughly half, I think. Last time I saw
Is it
a
half?
map, maybe it's close to half. And granted, some states are not as forgiving on the subject as others, right? Like some states, it's just medical. Like even our neighbors to the not so north in Oklahoma even recognize medicinal usage for cannabis. And we all know how progressive and ahead of the curve Oklahoma is. So it really it's really striking and really, I think, illustrates where we are in Texas, where you can see, and I think it's indicative of a more cultural phenomenon here, right? Like I would wager that 70% of Americans, if not more, would be in favor of legalization. But it's ultimately not the people that get to make that decision. Sadly, it's people that do it for a variety of different reasons and keep their thumb on it.
26 states and in Washington, D.C. have legalized marijuana in some sort of way.
Mm-hmm.
Even Vermont,
Mm-hmm.
who competes with Canada with their syrup.
Vermont is Vermont's not all that surprising as far as the weed is concerned. It's when you start getting into your let's see, who'd be the most surprising state so far that has legalized outside of Oklahoma?
No, you can't take it away from me.
Oh, yeah.
I'm looking at this thing, and really, I don't know. Missouri, maybe.
Missouri?
Oklahoma legalized it medically, which was pretty surprising, honestly.
Yeah, that's what we were just talking about.
So how hard is it to go to Oklahoma, which just happens to be a little over an hour from here, and get a medical card, and then just, of course, just hang out in Oklahoma, because you're not allowed to take that back home. But if you're just hanging out in Oklahoma, how hard is that? Do we know?
I think you have to be a resident of Oklahoma, and that ultimately is the kicker, isn't it?
Yeah, but in New
Yeah.
Mexico, you don't. In New Mexico, you actually can get a card while you're there,
Yeah.
and be able to do that way. So it's just interesting. Each state is different. But yeah, I agree with you, Grunge Jesus. I think that it's there has to be a high percentage. Over 50% of Americans would be fine with legalizing marijuana at this point. Now, Jimmy, did they give a reason why they took backsies? There has to be some reason that they were doing that.
Yeah. So ultimately, what has typically happened in almost every case where a state was deciding or a city was deciding whether or not to decriminalize. So this is not legalizing, this is decriminalizing, making it
Oh,
to
gotcha.
where
Yeah.
if you get pulled over, you have a little bit inside of your car, it's going to be fine. This doesn't make it to where you can sell it in a store, but this makes it to where, if you're in possession of a small amount of marijuana, you're good to go. Well, the people who most notably were making an issue of this were the local police. So basically, you see in here that it came to 70% of voters supported the decriminalization. This would prohibit police from making arrests or writing tickets for low-level possessions of marijuana. And then it goes on to say that during the actual council's vote, they ended up having people show up, most of which were all saying that they should definitely decriminalize. Of course,
Mhm.
70% of the people voted to decriminalize. But the people on the other end were police officers saying that this is something that's
Mhm.
going to get in the way of the way that they do business, which was probably half of the reason why people were voting so strongly against it, is because they don't like the way that they were doing business. But maybe
Yeah.
that's for the next vote.
It was amazing to me, and I don't see it here, but I was reading the story. Is they approved up to 3 ounces you getting caught with, and you just
Jeez.
get a ticket. That's a
Yeah.
lot of
That's
marijuana.
amazing.
I mean, that's
I guess depending on who we're asking, Grunge
depending on who
Jesus.
you're asking. Yeah, that could be considered a lot. in
It's only a
certain
couple of
circles.
trees, right? That's all it is. Just,
I just, when you really look at the nuts and bolts of it and the outcome, like, we are reaching a point of cultural awareness here where the vast majority of our society has realized that weed is pretty benign. On the list of things that you can do recreationally, it's as far as the damage that you're doing to your body, it's certainly towards the bottom. It's just, it has become crystal clear, and I think a giant light is being shown on the history of cannabis and the reasons for why it was made illegal, and the bullshit, the absolute draconian, archaic bullshit that has led to the arrests and prosecutions of fucking millions of innocent people. Like, it's not surprising that we would start walking this back immediately, even as close to us as here in Denton, Texas, right? I mean, so you start seeing that kind of revolution taking place where you start seeing the will of the people. Of course, there's going to be a recourse against that. Abbott, our governor, has made it abundantly clear, I don't know how many times, that if it ever comes anywhere near his desk, he's going to ignore it. You know, which
What a
is
narc.
it's such a I know it's so sad. It's so entirely sad because there are drugs out there, everything from opiates to fentanyl to even alcohol that are readily available, right? Of course, fentanyl and opiates are not necessarily legal, some of them pharmaceutically. Uh, but the damage that's being done on a horrific level to people's lives, to people's health, when there are alternatives, natural alternatives that are proven to work. You know, it goes back to conversations that we've had among us, among ourselves here before, um, in that ultimately it is more about money. It is more about sensationalism, and it's more about the argument than it is the actual will of the people, or even common sense. So it sucks. And it sucks even worse to see it happening in our backyard. But I think it just shows how much harder those of us that are pro legalization are going to have to fight to get where we want to be.
Yeah, I agree with that. And even when it's
Yeah.
made, I think it's just a matter of time before it federally is going to be legalized. But then the states have to take that on themselves because even if it's legal federally, the states can still do it. So buckle in if you're in Texas because it's probably going to be at least 10 years, before
Lame.
So
before
I
we
would
You
move
know what?
forward.
I would fully enjoy watching it happen in reverse though, where like so right now, Greg Abbott, like as you were saying, Grunge Jesus, you got Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas, saying that if this bill comes to my desk, I will ignore it.
Yeah.
But if it is legalized federally, then all of a sudden he has to do something very active. He has to actually vote against that
Yeah.
and make it to where it's illegal again, which would be much more fun to watch him legitimize.
Oh, dance around and just the money that's coming in from that. You can tax it. I think Colorado's shown you how it can work. I think they're kind of the poster child because even in
Yeah.
California, who legalized it earlier, they, the money's there, but unfortunately, the way that they do it and the prices that they charge is astronomical when you compare it to Colorado, who I really think perfected it. I think California was in the forefront, and then you had Colorado that perfected it. So it's going to be interesting to see and watch over the next couple of years as we start pushing out federal legislation to see where that goes. But until then, if you're in Denton and you're caught with 3 ounces, good luck.
Yeah, get
Yeah.
yourself
A
over to
paltry
Dallas,
3
where they have
ounces.
actually decriminalized.
Yeah.
So just keep going down 35. Wait until they have to transition the police units that are on your ass, and then hope for
They're
the
like,
best
come
there.
free.
Let's hope for the best.
That's the thing about it really that confuses me about Texas is that the financial piece of it is so self-evident. I feel that with Texas being as money motivated as we are, it seems like, only in certain cases, is Texas willing to make a stink about the ethics of a situation before putting the money first.
I agree. And speaking of putting money first, I'm really excited that Ashley is part of the show. And the other one reason I'm excited is because she can give us geography lessons. We know about Guam now.
And
Oh,
Aruba.
But she is from an investment standpoint and knowing where you put your money from a crypto standpoint and just knowing the ins and out of crypto. I think Ashley might be one of the best experts I have. So Ashley, tell us about your crypto stuff.
You've really built me up there, so thank you
Yeah,
for
well,
that.
that's what I do here.
So this week in crypto has been pretty crazy. There's been a lot of drama, but specifically the most dramatic thing that has happened has been involving two major figures in the crypto space. One is named Zach XBT. Now, Zach XBT in the crypto space, he's like crypto famous. He's one of the OGs, joined, crypto Twitter around 2016, 17. So basically, he is known as the on-chain sleuth. So Anybody who knows Zach XBT knows that he has been the first person to report anything shady going on. So, like any shady businesses going on, like let's say somebody scams their audience or following, out of a lot of money, he writes threads outlining all their activities. So, like tracking all the
He's a
wallets.
whistleblower.
Yeah, so he's like a detective, like an unofficial detective, and he's been
Detective
doing that for
whistleblower.
years.
I
Yes.
gotta say though, that is, he's got to find a new, more interesting title that's more intriguing, because like I just imagine a girl sitting at a bar and she turns to Zach and she says, "What are you?" And he goes, "I'm a crypto sleuth." And then the girl just turns to the other one and goes, "And what do you do?" Anything else?
This guy's lazy.
Crypto
Yeah.
sleuth.
No, it's
I mean-
sleuth.
Alright,
It's
and
not
moving on.
sloth.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, so we'll just call him a detective for now. And then
Whistleblower
there's
detective.
also a guy, his name is Machi, Big Brother, as he's known on Twitter. Now, he actually is really popular. Like, he was in game shows in Taiwan. So, like, he's very well known in Taiwan. His real name is like Jeffrey. Let's see. I can't remember his name. It's Jeffrey Huang. I think I'm pronouncing that right.
No, that's not
Uh,
right. It's Wong.
Huang.
Hmm.
What? Yeah, it's one of those. So
It's Father's
basically,
Day. That was a good dad joke.
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It is Father's Day.
Good job. So Machi Big Brother, it has been like a big figure in the space, pretty controversial, and so there was a thread that Zach XPT wrote about Machi Big Brother embezzling 22,000 ETH. So
How much is that in American dollars? $1 billion?
let's see if I recall. Let's see. Let's say.
$300.
Yeah, just 300. It's not that much. Let's see. So
Well,
22,000
ETH
ETH.
goes.
Let's see. I think ETH is like at like 1,800 or something. So that's like $40 million.
Jeez.
So it's like a lot of money. So,
ETH
you
has
know,
gone down since the last time I looked at it.
oh yeah,
Well, it
yeah.
was like, yeah, it was like 2,500 not that long ago, right?
Oh my gosh, yeah. It was. Let's not even talk
That's
about the
okay. All right. Sorry. That
Depressing.
should have come with a trigger warning, I guess.
Yeah, you
Yeah, it
notice
is,
Ashley's not
trigger
talking
warning.
about investing right now. She's just talking
Yeah.
about
No.
the
I'm not
sleuth
providing
detective whistleblower.
any financial advice. So
If you're coming
So-
here for your financial advice on our first episode, go ahead.
you're screwed.
Yeah.
So this thread was massively popular. It got almost 10,000 likes. So it went pretty viral on crypto Twitter, since it's like a little micro niche community. So the other day, so what is now -2, Zach XBT is now in a defamation lawsuit with this Machi Big Brother character. So he filed a defamation suit about this self-proclaimed internet sleuth for publishing and maliciously promoting an article that falsely presented Machi as a criminal that had embezzled millions and millions of dollars. So it's a pretty heated battle right now.
That's interesting. I
So-
wonder where it's going to go. And what court is this of law? Is it in the Philippines? Is that what you were saying?
It's in the state of Texas.
Oh, well, they take
Yeah.
defamation very seriously in the state of Texas. And I've always been uncomfortable with the word defamation. I always felt like it meant something else.
It's a
When I was
slippery
younger.
slope.
It is.
Definitely.
Oh.
Yeah.
Slow.
Another good dad joke. Good job.
I'm honoring it.
Um,
Well, it's Father's Day, and you've got to honor it.
Happy Father's
So-
Day to all you dads out there.
So Machi wrote out when he went to file the suit that he has maintained that the allegations in Zach XBT's article are false. This morning he actually posted that he was
Mm.
only expecting an apology, any monetary compensation. He will donate to charity. He basically
Mm.
just wants to protect himself. So it seems like he wrote this tweet the other day, and he got way more comments than he did likes. And a lot of people are upset that he is attacking Zach XBT. So Zach XBT is considered like almost like a celebrity in the crypto world for bringing justice down,
Mm.
or bringing people
Other
to
way
justice.
around.
Bring
Yes.
yeah.
That would
Uh,
be a much cooler title,
I
though.
will bring
Yeah.
justice
So, like, the girl
down.
turns to him at that same bar. What do you do for a living? I end justice. I am the
I
ender of
bring
all justice.
ends here.
Yeah.
Well, that's at least intriguing.
In
Eh.
your humble opinion, Ashley, who's right in this this battle of words over Twitter?
So that's the interesting thing. So there's some people that have different conflicting opinions about this whole situation. So Zach
Get out of
XBT, yeah. So Zach XBT is like a self-appointed detective in the space, but some people have had articles written by Zach XBT, and they claim that he's not looking at all the situation. He doesn't contact them for information. The majority of Twitter is in support of him, and it is actually like he's received almost $1 million in donations so far for the lawsuit. And the interesting thing about the lawsuit too, that you might find very fascinating, is that the same law firm that represented Johnny Depp in the Amber Heard case is going to be representing this crypto sleuth.
Oh wow.
Wow. Okay. So this is pretty damn high profile then.
Oh yeah. Yeah, this is as high profile as you get with crypto Twitter. So this is probably the most exciting thing that has happened in crypto Twitter for a long time, outside of the, that I'm sure a lot of people that are watching right now into crypto know about.
Very interesting, and I'm hoping that this time next week, when it's now in the future, that this is still a relevant story, because I would love a follow up to kind of see how that rolls.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'll keep my eyes peeled. So yeah, this so far that's really all that's going on in crypto.
Okay, well, and now one story in our last story, because we always save the best for last, and that's why we have Grunge Jesus. And I think, are we getting closer to being cyborgs, or how does that work?
Well, so of course you helped us dive into the magical world of AI towards the front of the show. I'm going to take us in a slightly different direction. There aren't any robotics involved yet,
Damn it.
really, in
Okay,
what
the
I'm
show's
about
over.
to
I'm
say.
done.
I'm so sorry. I don't
Okay,
mean to
I'm
disappoint.
gonna go ahead and shut my computer.
But there is an edge of ethical questioning to what I'm bringing to the table today. I'm sure we are at least somewhat familiar with the idea of human embryos, what a human embryo is, right? And when
Is it a
sperm
pre-baby?
and egg, right? Yes, basically.
Pre-baby.
So scientists, as of this past week, scientists have they have reported the creation of the first human synthetic model embryos. These embryo-like structures are basically, like I was saying a second ago, they're the very earliest stages of human development. They do not have a beating heart or a brain, but scientists say that they could one day help advance the understanding of genetic diseases or the causes of miscarriages. Basically, they have been able to create these embryos without the presence of sperm, without the presence of egg. They are derived from stem cells, basically. And the interesting part of this, and the thing that as our audience grows and we continue to talk more about these kinds of subjects, I'm the type of person specifically that when science starts making major progressive leaps like this, whenever we start getting into this even sometimes ethically ambiguous territory, I always argue go, right? Go as far as you can, figure this out. Let's figure out where the edges of the map are, so to speak, so we know where we can operate safely. We know what we can learn. But there are already objections forming to this because, as you guys may know, if you're not, when it comes to scientific study and development
Mm.
of these embryos, whenever they're being studied for whatever purpose, the legal statute is 14 days. You are not allowed, if you're a scientist and you're working with embryos, you are not allowed to develop these embryos past 14 days ethically for many different reasons, right? Because like the closer it becomes to becoming a person with a
Mm.
brain and a heartbeat, it becomes a civil rights issue before too long.
Is that a way that
Um,
we're going to slowly get into cloning people? Is that how that's going to end up? I've seen a
I,
lot of
I
sci-fi movies.
I think that's where the ethical questions about this
Mm.
really start coming into play, right? Is because ultimately you're dealing with something here that is arguably it's arguably not human. Um, there is a doctor who's been working on it named Magdalena Zernica Gates. Um, she has described the work in a presentation this past Wednesday. Uh, Basically, she is a professor of biology and biological engineering at Caltech and the University of Cambridge. And she said the research has been accepted at a well regarded scientific journal, but has not yet been published. Um, so let's see here. The embryo-like structures that Zernica Gates says her lab has created were grown from single human embryonic stem cells that were coaxed to develop into 3 distinct tissue layers.
Huh.
They include cells that would typically go on to develop a yolk sac, a placenta,
Mm.
and the
Mm.
embryo itself. So basically, these synthetic embryos, if allowed to progress, could become something. It could become fundamentally a synthetic human being.
So this definitely
It
reminds me
could.
of the movie The Island. Have you guys ever seen that with Scarlett
Yes.
Johansson and
Oh,
Ewan
I love
McGregor
that movie.
and
It's a
the
good
big
one.
guy from The Green Mile?
It's a good movie. Yes.
Yeah, that is a great movie. So that's basically what they ended up being, right? They were being cloned on an island. So I can see it progressing to that level at some point. But right now, I guess the only thing they're trying to do within that 14 days is beat cancer.
So yeah.
That and because they've already got AIDS out of the way, but that's Magic Johnson that did that.
So so yeah, I can't speak too much to that, but what I can say is that yeah, the primary focus here is to understand diseases and various defects that cause things like miscarriages. You know, a lot of things that happen in the prenatal stages of a pregnancy, and that there's a lot of room to understand what happens, and how we can correct some of what goes on. But once again, there's this discussion to be had, right? Is this the right move going forward to allow these things to develop and see how far we can get with it? What would you guys say? Would you be curious to let it advance, or is it just too damn creepy?
On one hand, I definitely do not like the idea of them allowing these things to grow fully. But on the other hand, I feel like a lot of those scientists have to feel like they have like incomplete information to actually come to any type of conclusion. So like if you were to like be told like, hey, teach us about the effects of smoking. Here's a zygote. Let us know what you find
Just hit
next
it.
week.
Just
And they're
hit
like,
it.
I just don't feel like I'm gonna be able to get anywhere with this.
Yeah, nothing. Didn't we do something like this? Was it stem cells? When was it? Back in the early 2000s that they made illegal. It was the same thing. same type of thing. They were doing the same, except for this wasn't synthetic. It was, actually real life what they were trying to grow. Even though I guess synthetic could be technically considered real life at some point, unless you watch the movie The Island. But I don't know. I think it's an interesting thing. I think it could be very good for society as a whole. But then once again, I think at some point there's going to be a mad scientist. There always is. That in about, I don't know, 10 years we'll have our first synthetic baby.
Baby.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. But to that end, Dr. Zernica Gates said, I just wish to stress that they are not human embryos. They are embryo models, but they are very exciting because they are they're very similar looking to human embryos and very important paths
It's the
toward
same thing, but
discovery
not really.
of why so many pregnancies fail, as the majority of the pregnancies fail around the time of development at which we build these embryo-like structures. She said that to her knowledge, it was the first time a human model embryo had been created with 3 tissue layers. But she stressed that while it mimics some of the features of a natural embryo, it doesn't have all of them. So, once again, I think that there's kind of an alarmist piece of this, right, where we start hearing about embryos being grown in laboratories and studied at this rate, right? Like obviously there's always going to be some kind of outcry, some kind of objection to that kind of thing. I mean, even stem cells themselves have a very controversial origin story, right? Being derived from either miscarried fetuses or in some cases aborted fetuses as well. That is a major source of where stem cells come from. So just simply obtaining them in order to study and create embryos is a whole separate issue. Complex, very complex issue. But once again, my take on it is, I would just really be curious to see where this goes and see how far we can take it and see what we can learn, because I think there's more to gain here than there is to be afraid of.
I agree with you, and I think in 30 years we're going to be run by AI chatbots and embryos.
That's kind of what I was thinking. Yeah, like if we can figure out a way to kind of smush my story and your story together, then suddenly.
Yeah,
we've got
package of the AI chatbot service that Jeremy found.
Exactly, and we'll have that, and
if you move to certain precincts inside of Japan, you only have to wait 14 years.
That's it
before you actually date them.
It's all great, from there. And I think with all this action-packed show, I think that's gonna wrap us up. And I look forward to next week. But I think it's time to end the show. It's now.
Now.
Right now.